And good afternoon. You joined us here on Think Tech Hawaii on Aloha United We Stand. I'm Ethan Allen. I'm guest hosting for Jay Fidel, who is away for the week. Aloha United We Stand is put on every week, every Thursday at noon, sponsored by Aloha United Way. With us today here on Aloha United We Stand is Jim Murphy, and Jim is the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity here in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to be talking about ending poverty housing. And now, this is a really an exciting thing that you're doing. And in our relatively brief conversations ahead of time here, it's clear to me that Habitat for Humanity does much more than build houses. This is what I think we all think. We all know former President Jimmy Carter gets out there and hammers away and helps build houses, and that's what we think. So what else does Habitat for Humanity do?
Okay. So we do build houses, and that is obviously our core program. And Jimmy Carter's 91 years old. He's still out there, there hammering away. But really, it's not about the house with us. It's about the community that comes together with the house, and that comes together and builds the house. Whether it's the business community, the neighbors that come together, the family that comes together, and then what that house does with the family that ultimately moves into and lives in that house. It improves their economic stability, it improves their health, it improves their education for their children, their safety. There's a number of different improvements to their lives and the community.
Right. This really gets into this whole broader view of health in terms of the so-called social determinants of health.
Right.
A good house provides a healthy, physically healthy environment, a psychologically stable, secure environment, which makes people happier, better adjusted, less stressed.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's all great. Yeah. So it's a very comprehensive kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the family, people who live in a house that they own will invest more and give more into a community, and vice versa, because they become part of the fabric of that community. So it actually has economic improvements to the community as well, to have more homeowners living there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hadn't really thought of that before, but right, if you have roots there by owning a home, that's going to tie you to your neighbors, tie you to sort of the physical location, the streets, the trees, the parks. Yep. You're going to want to see all those things in as good shape as possible, because it's immediately improving your own environment.
Right.
So you'll invest your time and energy in doing it, rather than just sort of sticking you in some sort of transient housing, right?
Right.
Where you have, so that's excellent. It sounds like a great model.
Yeah.
So how does it work? How do you go at this process? I mean, there's lots of people who need homes, right?
Absolutely. So I am my affiliate is one of 7 in the state.
Okay.
So I just cover Honolulu, most of Oahu. There is a leeward habitat that takes care of the Waianae side, Kapolei, and Ewa Beach in that area. Then Maui's got their own, and so the affiliates themselves just manage their certain demographics. People come to us and they have to qualify to become a Habitat family. And there's 3 different ways they qualify. They have to financially qualify. They have to be within 30 to 60% of the median income. So they have to be, and they have to be financially stable, because one of the large misconceptions about us is that when we build a house for a family, the family then owes a mortgage back to us, but it's a zero interest mortgage. So if it costs us $100,000 to build that house, the family pays $100,000 back to us. We don't make a
15 or 30 years,
over 20 years. It's a 20-year term. We don't make any profit on it. We manage and we service the mortgage, take care of the escrow, take care of the tax. So ultimately what we're trying to do is we're getting people into homes, and then we're also building their financial stability.
Right. Because if their homeowner is paying a mortgage, their credit rating goes up. They can,
yes, absolutely. And we meet with them prior to go over their finances, make sure that they can afford this mortgage payment in their current lives, and that they, that we're not going to put a financial burden on them because they're trying to get a home, and we want to make sure that they are that this is something that they're ready to do, and we have in the past taken folks who have applied, not been financially ready to do it. They go through some financial training, maybe make some improvements, get a credit card paid off, and get a little bit stronger, come back, and then they're good to go from that point.
That's great. So that's another little sort of piece of the Habitat program that
Yes.
that few people probably know about.
Yeah, yeah. And because we manage and service the mortgage, and they make mortgage payments to us, we stick with the families. We don't sell off our mortgages. We want to keep them, and when we say partner families, we want them to be partners. We want them to be part of our ohana. And we make sure that, it's like my grandma used to say, life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Sometimes people lose jobs, people get sick, people fall in hard times. And we like to work with the families as they're making these mortgage payments over the 20-year life of the loan. We don't say the F word. We don't say foreclosure. We work with families because we want to make sure that they're in their house and remain stable.
And the vast majority of them really do stay
Absolutely.
and meet their obligations, pay their mortgages off.
Yeah.
And successfully completed. Well,
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Because I know the populations that you are helping are people who just sort of because of their socioeconomic status are more prone to having life crises, issues of job loss, health crises without insurance, et cetera,
Sure.
that any one of which can affect their ability to, their fiscal and financial stability.
Yeah, a lot of the folks that have come to us that are applying with us are folks who we've called them hidden homeless. These are folks who are, they're potentially living with their family. They're living in a very crowded housing that they're probably paying a lot more for rent than they would a mortgage, and that's got some very negative economic outcomes to them.
Right.
And so that tends to eat their money up a little bit more. So maybe they're not eating right. Maybe they're not living as healthy a lifestyle as they would if they're in their own home.
Right, absolutely. No, if you're jammed in tightly, that's psychologically stressing. As you're probably not sleeping as well. There's more
Maybe
noise.
working 2 or 3 jobs just to try to pay your rent.
Right. Yeah. Which again is going to be chronic cortisol stress basically in your body. And that's So that sounds like a great thing that you're doing then.
Yeah.
And so, the other half though, in terms of building homes. So how does that piece work? How do you get the people to do that?
So so the family is right there with us when we build the home. So there's a sweat equity component of their commitment to become a partner family. Before we even start to build a house, the family will come and they will come out and they'll do about 50 hours of volunteer service with us so that they can get to know our mission.
Okay.
We can get to know each other. We truly become partners at that point. They see what we're about, and there's lots of different ways that they can volunteer. And we just that's just our way of getting to know each other and also strengthening that commitment that they're making. Once we start construction, they're out there. The family is out there with us every Saturday as we do our home builds, and then it's our job to go out and find volunteer labor to help build the house. Some of it's skilled, some of it's not skilled. We get real estate companies who bring their staff out who don't know which side of the hammer to hold. We've got great relationships with the military groups who've got skilled plumbers and electricians, and they come out. So we we tie that all together and build the house mostly through volunteer labor.
Wow. So you're really bringing people from a lot of very diverse sources then, and so there must be a real coordination aspect to
It's
this.
a very big coordination aspect. It's a lot of, there's a lot of moving parts to it. We try not to slow down the construction process because of it, because at the end of the day, we want to build a house.
Right.
And just because it is for a low-income family, and just because it is through our model does not mean that we want that house to be of any less quality than you or I would want to live in.
Right.
So we want to make sure that it's a quality house. We want to make sure that it's affordable, and we want to make sure that it's a safe place for them. And the volunteers that come out, there's so much love out there. There's so much community there that will get people who they may show up to volunteer because their employers having a volunteer day, but they may fall in love with the idea of coming out there, and then they'll just come every Saturday. So we've got 3,000 volunteers who are registered with us. That doesn't mean we get 3,000 all at once, but we get 3,000 people who are signed up with us, and when we put a call out to say that we're going to be building on this day, we generally get a very good response.
Excellent, excellent. That's, and how do you sort of decide where to build a house, and how do you acquire the land?
So that is my biggest challenge,
Okay.
which is probably not surprising. I'm one of the few affiliates in the country that has the issue of not being able to buy land, because the land cost in Oahu is so expensive that I couldn't possibly go out and buy land and be able to fit that into a family's mortgage, because they just wouldn't be able to afford it. So families have to come to us in two different ways. They either have their own land, which there are a number of those families who do, and then we also have a very strong relationship with Hawaiian Homelands. So when and the Department of Natural DNLR. When they designate a land lease to a particular family, they then will refer that family back to us, and if the family qualifies, then we work with DHHL to work with that family, and then the family owes a mortgage on the house, but they've got a land lease through DHHL.
Good.
So.
Yeah, because in many places land is relatively inexpensive, but not here.
Right. No, and I won't be building in Kaka'ako.
What? No high rises? That's amazing. It's really it sounds like a great program here, and I know we were showing on the screen there some of your projects a bit ago being built. Do you have a standard sort of basic model house, or do you custom design every house, or do you have
we
a
had
sort of choice?
We've got a couple of different options with our homes. We work very closely with Group 70 and Paul Matsuda, the architecture firm. They designed some prototype homes for us: 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, and 6-bedroom. And we built, or we designed these houses specifically for volunteer labor to build. So they're pretty simple, and Habitat in general has some parameters. So a family comes, and based on their size, based on their economic stability, they qualify for a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom. So and then our prototype homes are pretty standard in their layout. Family obviously gets to make some choices on, paint color and flooring and things like that. So that's one option, and then Hansador. We also work very closely with Hansador and some of their kits.
Excellent, and we're going to come back and talk some more about that after a short break, but right now we're going to take a brief break.
Aloha, my name is Justine Espiritu, and I co-host Hawaii Farmers Series with Matthew Johnson of Oahu Fresh. We talk about Hawaii's local farmers and their supporters. In order to have a vibrant and sustainable local food system, farmers are always the foundation, but there's so many other people involved in the community that help support those farmers. So we bring those folks onto our show every Thursday at 4 p.m. We get their backstory, their history, find out a little more about them, and we find out why they love what they do and their perspective and their advice on how we can continue to have a dynamic and vibrant and sustainable local food system. So we broadcast live every Thursday at 4 p.m. and you can also catch us on ThinkTech's YouTube channel as well as Alelo 54. So we hope you tune in and join us. Thank you.
And you're back here on Aloha United We Stand. I'm your guest host, Ethan Allen, filling in for Jay Fidel. I'm here with Jim Murphy, the Executive Director of Honolulu Habitat for Humanity. We're talking about what Habitat for Humanity does and how they do it. And you were saying before you work with one development group to do a lot of the design, then you mentioned another development group.
Yes, so we work with Group 70, and they designed specifically some prototypes for our homes. And then we also work closely with Hansador, and Hansador builds homes all all over the state, I believe. I believe they're statewide. And they've got lots of different options, 2, 3, 4 bedroom houses. And what we want to do is we want to, when we're meeting with the family and starting this partnership with them, we want to give them some choices. They want to go with our prototype. They want to choose one of these Hansador houses that we can build, because we want them to have choice.
Sure.
A lot of times, these are folks who never really had choice.
Right.
And so, yeah, absolutely. They've had to, this is what they could afford, this is where they had to live, this is where they had to live, and whether it was convenient or not didn't really matter because that was all they had.
Right.
So we want to give them choice.
It's very empowering for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the other thing you had mentioned was that you also work with preservation of homes. So
Yes.
people who are in homes where the home is falling apart,
Yep.
roof leaking, porch falling off,
Yep.
and they don't have the wherewithal to pull this together.
Yes.
Right?
So we have it's called home preservation, very similar program structurally to our home build that we will go into a house. This is a house that somebody already owns, but maybe their roof is leaking, maybe they need new windows, maybe they need new landscaping. They need to improve the safety of their home, they need to improve the appearance of their home, the value of their home. We can work with the elderly and make their homes ADA compliant, so they're allowed to age in place and stay in their home.
Excellent.
And it's, like I said, it's a very similar program. It's obviously at a much lower cost than building a house, but anywhere from $500 to $13,000 to go in and make the repairs that you need to your house. A zero interest loan back to us. This home preservation loans are made over 7 years instead of 20 years, but it's still a no profit to us. Still done through volunteer labor, still done with in-kind donations from a lot of businesses, but allows people to improve their current living space.
Right. And so again, it's also feeding back into the community betterment because of course the sort of lowest house in a given neighborhood is what sort of brings the value down, and so by bringing those houses up to par.
And nobody wants to live in that. Nobody wants to live in that house.
Right.
Because this is a very tight community here in Hawaii, and everybody knows their neighbors, and everyone. The fabric of the communities are very strong. So nobody wants to be that house that is bringing the value down, and nobody wants to live with a leaky roof.
Sure. So that must bring new challenges to your work, though, because whereas if you're building your own home from the ground up, you sort of do have some set models. You're not doing anything too tricky and fancy because you rely on volunteer labor. But doing a retrofit or a post facto fix up, you don't have those choices, right? You can't sort of say, oh, let's put this roof on because they've already got a roof on.
Right.
You've got to work with what's there.
Yeah, and we're trying to do it in the most effective and the most cost-effective way too. So we're not necessarily going in and not necessarily beautifying, but we're trying to make it safe. We're trying to make it stable. These are not cosmetic changes that we're making to people's houses. These are things that they need. These are absolutely things that they need.
So that is, yes, putting in new windows, for instance, can really make a tremendous difference in a home's livability, basically. And, So that's great. That sounds, but again, I love that sort of parallel structure that both the preservation and the building both, again, have these sort of multiple social determinants of health aspects to them, where they're helping the people who are living in the homes, they're helping the neighbors, they're actually improving the whole value and wherewithal of the community. Yeah. And it looks from the images on the screen here, these are amazingly collaborative efforts. Yeah. You get great teams of people and it's a real credit to you that you can pull those teams together from the very different sources, from volunteers, from a real estate company, and the military people, and they all have to somehow, they can't just sort of show up when they want. They've all got to do this because you can't put in certain things so you've done other things, right? When you're building a home, it has to happen in a sequence. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the beautiful things about Hawaii is how Hawaii comes together and helps each other out like this. And so we've got, I can go to businesses and say, this is what we do, this is where we're getting ready to build, this is what we're about. How would you like to be involved? Is it that you want to provide a day for your staff to come out and build? Do you want to sponsor something? Do you want to make a donation to our restore? We haven't even talked about our restore yet. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. But then once you get involved, once your staff gets involved, they fall in love and stick around.
Yeah, that's a credit to your program if you can generate that kind of sort of persistent volunteering, rather than one-shot volunteering.
Yeah.
So that's.
We want to make a rewarding. We want to make a rewarding experience for the volunteers too. That's part of why we have the family there, because we're teaching skills.
Right.
So you may not know how to use a power saw, but you're interested in learning how to use a power saw. So if you're out on a day when we're doing framing, it's an opportunity for you to learn a skill. We want the families to learn the skills because ultimately we want them to take care of the house once it's built.
Right. But now there must be cases where that can't be done, right? Where the family, for whatever reason, the family members are not particularly able, the kids are too young, the parents are too old or disabled in some way.
Yeah. So we absolutely, we do not allow children on our sites. No one under the age of 16 is allowed to volunteer. If they're a family member who's under 16, they cannot be out there on the sites just for liability purposes.
Sure.
We'll never ask anyone to do anything that they are not capable of doing. We don't have our volunteers do electrical work or plumbing. We'll contract that out. We get very nervous when our volunteers are on the roof. I get very nervous as an executive director when volunteers are on the roof. But as far as family members goes, we want them to be there if they are elderly and not capable of doing certain things. There's lots of things at the build site for them to do, whether it's just checking in the volunteers that come that day, just being a presence and being a family member, painting, obviously, helping with lunches, lots of different things.
Okay, yeah, of course. It's a very, very rich fabric of different skills, different jobs, and you try to match the needs to the talents, as it were. Then it sounds like.
Yeah. And we get to know the skills of the volunteers too.
Sure.
So that if we are in a build and we know if we find a couple of good carpenters along the way, we can call them and say, hey, we're going to be doing some framing next week. Would you be interested in coming out, because this is something that you've got a skill that we know we can utilize.
Yeah, and that's great, because then people like to use their skills, like to use and be called upon to exhibit and demonstrate and practice the things that they are actually good at.
Yeah.
So that makes them then feel good. So that's a very sort of psychologically ingenious process.
And at the end of the day, they get to drive by this house that their hands touched, that they built.
Right.
So this was not a general contractor that came out and suddenly this house was built.
Right.
This was an entire community of people and businesses who came together and on one day or another touched this house, and now this house stands.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's funny, my wife actually grew up in a house that her parents literally built themselves. I mean, they literally poured the foundations, laid the cement block, learned about framing outdoors by doing it. And the house has some strange quirks to it, but here it is, 60 years later, and it's still standing. So it's great, and there's all the family members feel sort of very tied to it because their parents literally did build it with their own two hands. So that's I certainly understand that feeling, and it's great that you give people who have probably never had that chance, that opportunity to really sort of invest their own time and energy into something that then feeds back and helps them.
Yeah. And it was amazing. So we finished 5 houses in December of last year out in Waimanalo. And we had a huge dedication ceremony. It was right before Christmas. And tons of people out for this dedication ceremony. We had this incredibly powerful just ceremony in general, where I'm literally handing somebody the keys to their house. And then afterwards, these families, they wanted everyone to see their house because this was their house.
Sure.
And for the first time in their lives, they really got to say, can I show you my house?
Right, yeah.
And it's not just my house that I bought, it's my house that I built.
Yeah, which is even more powerful.
It's just an amazing thing to see. It's an amazing thing to see.
I can well believe it. I've done workshops where people create things in the workshop, and they're always very proud of their creations, and this is a huge extended version of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I get proud of myself when I fix a doorknob at home and I show my wife.
Yeah. And particularly, I would guess if you did that in groups, with 5 houses more or less in one area, I mean, there must be this sort of shared.
It was a big project. It took about 1.5 years to do, and it was really an amazing thing to see, because you had 5 families who came together who did not know each other. who ultimately became neighbors, who became friends, who became family, and they all touched each other's house.
Right, I was going to say that they all were helping, I'm sure, on one another's homes as they were being built. So, yeah.
And you learned that like this person was really good at laying tile, so that he would start to work on the tile for the other houses. And now we still stay in touch with these families, of course, and they have an emu out there now, and they do a big celebration, and they had a huge Halloween party.
Do some of the people who benefit and move into your homes actually turn around and start volunteering for?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and that's part of why we want the 50 hours prior to the start. Is we want some of the families to go out if they can and work on other families' homes, and then we also ask that there's 25 hours of service after the house is built, because we want them to go out and hopefully speak on our behalf to tell other folks about becoming partner families. But absolutely, if we're building in that community and some of these partner families know that we're going to be out there, they're more than happy to come out.
Oh, wonderful. That's a great way to get that sort of cycle going of ongoing. And people, then you've got people who are sort of felt like they were always taking before, and now they are giving back.
Yeah.
And that's a tremendously empowering psychological concept for them. And again, sort of for their health and well-being is just, it's really mind-boggling, actually, what that must do.
Yeah.
And to do that, the idea of you're doing this with a group of people, and you're really building a community there in a sense, and these 5 families are intimately and inexorably linked now, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think there were 2 of them that they found out that they were actually related through distant cousins and didn't realize it.
Very neat, very neat.
Yeah.
This is one of these sort of like the onion. You keep peeling off layers here, and the more and more you see in it, the deeper and deeper you go. So let's take a brief break here, I think.
Okay.
And then we can go and let's talk about where you want to go next,
Okay.
where you want to go in the future.
Okay.
But right now, I think we'll jump out for just a moment, and we'll be right back.
Aloha, I'm Kili'i Akina, president of the Grassroot Institute and host on Ehana Kako, a weekly program on the Think Tech Hawaii broadcast network. Ehana Kako means let's work together. Think of the sad alternative, let's not work together. Here in Hawaii, with all of our diversity and the richness of the people, it's important for us to come together around issues on the basis of what's right and what's good and what's going to serve the common good. And that's what we try to do at Ehana Kako. Every week we interview movers and shakers, people in government, business, and other sectors of society to talk about how to create together a better government, economy, a better world here in Hawaii that can bless the rest of the world. I thank you for your attention to Think Tech Hawaii, and we look forward to seeing you every Monday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the Think Tech Hawaii broadcast network. We're Ehana Kako, and we wish you well. Aloha.
Welcome back. You've rejoined us here on Aloha United We Stand. I'm Ethan Allen, filling in for Jay Fidel. Aloha United We Stand airs every Thursday at noon, and so we hope you'll become a regular viewer. I'm here this week with Jim Murphy, the Executive Director of Honolulu Habitat for Humanity. We've been talking about the amazing, incredibly sort of diverse and yet wonderfully integrated system that Habitat for Humanity has of bringing people, getting them involved in their work, in working on their own homes, gaining skills, gaining understanding, becoming parts of neighborhoods, helping others in the neighborhood, building more and more things, becoming contributors, and it's an amazing story so far. But I gather there's yet more to Habitat. This whole, you said a restore?
Yep.
So
we have it's called Restore, and it's a resale shop that we've got in Kalihi on Austin Lane, and what this is people donate furniture, appliances, and building material to us, and then we take those items and sell them through our resale shop, and that ultimately funds our mission. We also can use some of those building materials and furniture for our homes as well.
Sure.
But it's our way of serving the mission every single day because it's open Monday through Saturday. But it's an incredible space, and we get an outpouring of people who want to make donations, and we pick up as well, who want to make donations of appliances as they're renovating, or changing over their condos, furniture. We get a lot of students from UH and HPU who are into apartments or what have you, who come and buy furniture at reduced rates. DIY folks who are coming in and they want to tile their own bathroom, and so they'll come in and get some expert advice as well as some of the materials that they need, and that ultimately funds our mission. And it's a pretty incredible space and a pretty incredible staff that run it. It's pretty energetic. It's a lot more energetic.
So it's a very broad-based, multifaceted store that has everything you might need
everything that you need for a home, furniture, building material, and appliances. And it's one of the connections that we have through Aloha United Way too, because they send out these email blasts when they've got a company that wants to donate a table, and then we jump on that, and they open it up to everybody. We jump on that. We've got a truck. So, but if there's something that somebody can donate, and we think that we can sell it in the store, we will absolutely take it. And sometimes we sell the same piece of furniture a number of times because the college student will come in, get a table, use it through the year, and then they're moving back home, and now they're moving out of an apartment, so they'll donate the table back, and then we'll sell it to somebody else.
I like this. this.
Yeah.
You can see that's again, it's a great model. It's a win-win, for everyone. So that's so. And where do you see this going? I mean, what's sort of next on your plate? Sounds like you have a very full plate.
We've got 6 families who are who have applied and have been approved, and so we've got 6 projects that we're hopefully going to get started if I get a building permit. We're hopefully going to start in January, and that first one is in Papakolea. We've also got some families in Waimanalo, out in Kaneohe, and so that's really what we've got planned for 2016 are those 6. But at the same time, we are looking for more and more partner families to do the home preservation projects. We're looking for more and more people to get involved. We'd like to do some, while those are individual homes, we would certainly like to do some larger projects, like I mentioned earlier, and building on a cul-de-sac and bringing a neighborhood together. We also do community revitalization projects too. So we did a project in July where I think it was 180 volunteers came out to Princess Kailani Elementary School, which is right next door to our office, and we had 16 different projects that we did at the school, getting that school ready for the new school year. Everything from landscaping to fixing sprinklers to doing some painting and some safety concerns that they have as well. And this weekend we're actually going to be out at the Key Project, which is a community center out in Kaneohe, doing a number of things, getting their facility in better shape as well.
Wonderful.
And that's just us taking our volunteer labor and the skills that we've got and just bringing it out to the community and exercising it. There's no mortgage. Nothing comes out of that other than just community goodwill.
Oh, no, that's so important to do that, and it's so helpful to have. And again, the kind of work you do, it sounds like, for instance, kids going to that elementary school are going to benefit psychologically from having a nicer environment, from having a safer environment, from having with more greenery, more landscaping. It'll give them a better environment for learning.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To learn more, to become better students, to appreciate school more.
Yeah.
I mean, the reverberations of this are immense.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Key Project out in Kaneohe, this is a community where we're gonna have a family's house that we're gonna build in 2016 out in that community. So this is kind of a way for us to get to know the community to get to know us, and for us to do something for a good community partner out there with what we've got, which is volunteers and tools and skills.
Excellent. So sort of a little, hi, I'm here as a good neighbor for you, and I'm gonna, without just sort of popping in first and
right.
building a house. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
it's
like
less
that.
it's less about, you know, what can you do for me, but what can we do for you.
Yeah.
So,
That sounds amazing. And similar kinds of projects that are happening not only just all across Oahu, but on Kauai and the Big Island and.
yeah, they've the Maui affiliate is very busy. Kauai's got a huge project that they're getting ready to start this year. They have the luxury of having better access to land than I do, but they're all extremely active. There's a Kona and a Hilo Habitat that do good work, and then our neighbors out in Kapolei and Leeward Habitat are doing amazing work as well.
And these other ones probably have the same kind of the preservation work, maybe even some restore things.
Yep, I think they've all got a restore. Everybody's got a restore.
Wow.
We love our restore. Yeah, they've all got very similar projects that they do. The needs are not so different on Kauai than they are here.
Right. And the people who you work with, your clients, there must be a pretty rigorous sort of screening process for them.
There is. I mean, we certainly we send them through a financial literacy course.
Okay.
We screen them. We do background checks on them, and we make sure that they are willing to partner. Because it is a commitment.
Sure, right.
It's not only a financial commitment when you have the mortgage, but that it's also a commitment to stick with us through the project. You have to be out there every Saturday building this house.
For a year or whatever.
Right. We are not building this house for you. We are building this house with you.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that as we enter into this partnership, that it is something that both of us want to do. So it's not for everyone. We've had people who have come in and they really just wanted a house, but they didn't necessarily want to help build the house. Well, then we're not for you. We're not for you. We've as I mentioned earlier, we've run into people who aren't financially strong enough to accommodate the mortgage. So let's work with you, figure out how you can become more financially stable, and then let's get back into it. So
excellent. And at the same time, they're learning when they say help construct a home, they're learning skills they need to maintain the home too. And I presume you sort of probably do some training on that end of things too.
We want to make sure we also use our restore for classes as well, so we can teach people how to change a garbage disposal, or teach people how to, install a door or something like that. But we want to, when we leave after the construction, that's that family's home, and so it's a different world for a lot of folks, because if something goes wrong in your home, you don't get to call the landlord. You have to fix that yourself. And we want them to have these skills, because if they can fix it themselves, that means they don't have to hire somebody. They don't have to spend money for somebody to come in and fix this. They can do it themselves and save themselves some money.
Right, yeah. And if they decide they need to slightly rearrange something in the house, they now understand, here's a load-bearing wall. I can't move this one, but I could move this one instead.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like it must be just so enriching for these people to go through this. So what that process, though, must take from some initial interview. It sounds like it probably takes months before you really even get to a real commitment to do the project with them, and then a year for building the house, maybe?
Not a year. I'm gonna go with 5 months for actually building the house. It is a long process, and we're pretty upfront about that from the beginning. There's a lot of paperwork. And because we need to get, ultimately, every family that is approved needs to go in front of our board, or not, the family doesn't go in front of our board, but their application goes in front of our board.
Portfolio.
Right. And then our family selection committee, which is board-led, that meets with the family and talks about what it's like to be a Habitat family, they will go and speak on behalf of the family to our board, and then our board approves it. But it takes some time to get through all of that financial literacy course, get all the paperwork in line, make sure that you're ready to do this, and then once you've been approved, then we've got to go and figure out what the actual cost of building this house is going to be. Not just the house, but then where we're building it. If it's DHHL land, what kind of condition is that land in?
Yeah, and you were mentioning the building permits, right?
And then you got to wait for a building permit.
You have to jump through a lot of these bureaucratic hoops, I'm sure, in your position, or one of your staff does.
Yeah, we are not the only people here that are building, so we got to wait in line just like everybody else.
Right. And you probably don't have the option of waiving the rules that some of the big developers seem to be able to do so well.
No, we don't. We all stand in that same line. So, so it takes some time. That's why we've got staff who work with the work with the family to make sure that they are, they're still with us. They're still, we're very transparent. We keep everybody updated.
I was going to say that their situation may change during the course of this work with them, right? They may get less financially stable or more financially stable.
But when you apply and when you are accepted, we take a snapshot of your life that day. So if for whatever reason it takes 6 months to get a building permit, and during that 6 months you lose your job, that doesn't matter.
Right.
We focus on the day that we took that snapshot. So that is what you're based on. So if something happens while we're waiting on a building permit for you, that doesn't mean that you fall off the list.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. But then you, of course, would have to work with those families.
Then you have to work with them. Yes.
What do we do here if you don't have the job?
And that's the thing. I mean, we don't want to, like I said, we don't want to create a financial burden for the family, but we also want to make sure that as they live through the life of this mortgage, they know how to manage the ups and downs.
Right. And I'm guessing that because of this kind of training that you do with these people, and because the processes of getting them involved in this, lots of people learn the various skills that enable them to go out and get a new job or a better job or upgrade their job, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got volunteers who have told me that they've come just as a volunteer and they've learned how to fix things and they've learned skills, and so they went out and bought a house that needed some upkeep. They fixed it up. They were able to sell it. They were able to buy another house. They were able to fix it up, and they were actually, able to, strengthen their own equity because of the skills that we taught them.
That's again, then you're building whole communities, but enriching and empowering individuals to bootstrap themselves, basically, and bring themselves and their family to new levels of security and economic stability.
Yep.
It's good on so many levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful thing.
And then again, as you talked about, and here on the screen, the Restore, it looks like here, right? I mean, it looks sort of like a Home Depot or whatever almost.
It is. I mean, it's hard to describe. You really have to come and see it. I mean, we had a huge relaunch in March of last year, and we had artists from the community that came up and did some murals that you're seeing, and it's a really energetic place. The staff is amazing. They're far more knowledgeable than I ever have been for hardware. I will find myself walking through there sometimes, and a customer will grab me and ask me a question. I'm like, oh boy, you found the wrong person. Let me try and find somebody that knows what they're talking about. But it's you'd be surprised the things that people donate, and you'd be surprised the things that people want. So it's a pretty cool place.
Wow. Well,
and it changes every day. It absolutely changes every day. I guarantee you, I will go there this afternoon after this, and it will be almost a completely different place than it was yesterday when I was there, because they will have sold half the stuff.
Really? Wow, you have that kind of turnover.
We do.
This has been education for me. I had no idea. I thought Habitat for Humanity just build houses, but it turns out like you build families, you build communities.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really helping build Hawaii.
Yeah.
It fits very much with the larger think tech vision of, using technologies and then as they're broadly applied to making Hawaii a better place to live for us all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming in and sharing this
with
us. And I know maybe you want to close with a quick request to people? Volunteers?
Sure, absolutely. So my request to everyone is, I want everyone to be involved in whatever way that they can and want to be involved, whether it's volunteering, whether you know somebody that needs a new home and may want to apply, whether you are a business that is thinking, oh, we could use some new chairs and want to make a donation. Come to our website, honoluluhabitat.org. There's lots of different ways to get involved. We'd love to get anyone and everyone involved in whatever way they want.
Super. Well, thank you so much,
Sure.
Jim.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed having you here.
Yep.
And aloha.
Aloha.
Hope you'll join us every Thursday.